Hello, everyone. I
Hello.
am TarotStache, half of Long Stash, and the other half is Ritchie Longman Tarot. Thank you
Hi.
for being here. And this, of course, here. I've been doing this. And welcome to today's deck casual, the Wildwood Tarot. Please. The Wildwood Tarot. Wildwood Tarot. And while you're here, please make sure that you like and subscribe. It's free. We're simulcasting this on both of our channels. So you have two opportunities to show the love. And as always, please purchase responsibly. Know your limits. We are here to share, not to sell. And as always, for entertainment purposes only, do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really. So
Beautiful.
well, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Ritchie, how the heck are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good, actually. I've had 2 weeks off over just before Easter. It's a nice Easter. Gone back to work, had a good week at work, and now got an exciting weekend of Morris dancing and being out in the fresh air. Looking forward to it. And I've got lovely painted nails too. So that's
You
nice.
do. And Pamela says, don't listen to Gerald. Please add the Wildwood to your library of tarot.
Yeah.
And Beth Aspasia Rising says, looking tres continental with his bandana foulard. How to dapper up a t-shirt. Look at that.
Thank you, Beth. I made an effort, you see.
Wow. Well, and so also people who have made an effort to join us include Suzanne G, who is hoping that their power stays.
Ooh,
Beth Aspasia Rising is here. Yes, and Beth got her granddaughter a cute little stuffed lammy with a TarotStache t-shirt on it for the holiday, and it's so adorbs. It's adorbs. And Monica is here. Hello, Monica. And Monica says, I absolutely love the Wildwood Tarot, and I work with it for my year ahead. It has been profound in connecting my healing with the healing of Mother Earth. Very
gorgeous.
Nice. Yes. Free Spirit has joined us, as has Rossi.
Hi, everyone.
Sylvia from Colorful Foresight. Connect from Within. We have Vanessa is here. We have, look at that. Michelle Marie, who I owe 2 emails to. I have 2 of them, not just 1, but 2.
Okay.
So I'm calling myself out. Viviani is here. Hello, Viviani.
Hi, Viviani.
And Pamela. Yes. So, and this is her favorite place in tarot, the Wildwood. So.
Fabulous.
Okay, so lovely people here. Thank you. If I've missed anyone, Ritchie, you are glowing.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm actually in daylight for a change. We've actually normally every time I talk to people, I'm in the darkness with the gloom. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to say it could be part of the dancing.
Absolutely. Full of positive energy.
Yeah. And Jackie Smith has joined us and said, so happy to find this. So many questions. Well, today we're talking about the Wildwood Tarot. And the Wildwood Tarot is by Mark Ryan and John Matthews and illustrated by Will Worthington. The links for you to purchase responsibly, know your limits, and we are here to share, not to sell, are description. Now, Ritchie and I were just checking. This is a deck. This is a deck that originally started out in the world as the Greenwood. Is that
That's
correct?
right. Yeah, many years ago.
And apparently they're going to be re-releasing the Greenwood, but we don't have any details on that.
They've been saying that for a very long time, but I know it's getting more and more definite. So I believe the Greenwood was the first version of it, and then it was all redrawn with Will Worthington and changed to become the Wildwood. So
yes.
Yeah.
So, and so that in mind, oh, here, I'm going to put that back up. That in mind, everybody who has seen a deck casual knows that I have an extensive list of things to cover, and we will get through this as efficiently as we can. And I see the tulips on the mantle, Ritchie. I love tulips.
Thank you. Oh, bless you. They're for you. Enjoy it.
So, well, thank you. I like the hair color too. It'll calm down a little bit, but this version of it came out in 2019, and it comes in a 2-part box. Does not have thumb holes.
Yeah.
And you can tell how I'm doing with that.
Yeah.
Not making this stuff up. It has a place you separate the cards into 2 piles.
Not a fan of that, but
not a fan of that at all. Not a fan of that at all. It does, however, come with a very helpful guidebook. So,
beautiful book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this is 160 pages. Truth be told, I am not a fan of the fact that they have used a gray-green font.
Yes. It's not good for reading in dark light. You need to be
correct.
Yeah. Can I just say something, Gerald, at this point?
Yes.
Please be very careful. I think this deck has been ripped off and copied and faked more than perhaps any other deck that I've seen online. I fell into the trap of accidentally buying one as well. So I don't think this deck comes in a tuck box. So if you see it in a tuck box, it's a fake, and don't buy it, because the cards are small and the artwork isn't very good.
And it comes with a guidebook. And I'll be honest with you, you need the guidebook in order to be able to experience the Wildwood as much as possible. And Pamela said they have been promising a reprint of the Greenwood for years. I'm still patiently waiting.
Yeah.
So, and the card stock. So, okay, so here's how would you describe the card stock, Ritchie?
Pretty standard. It's not brilliant, is it?
No. It's, you can do that. It shuffles fine.
I don't like the backs on mine. It's boring. It's dull. It's just got.
Well, show us the back.
Yeah, I've got that.
Your back is a little different. What's on the side?
Oh, it's just the copyright down the edge, so it's really dull.
Okay, because my version of it, and by the way, I trimmed my deck. My version of that has this on the back. So,
well, that's much nicer.
Yes. Oh, and Michelle Marie said, I made a video on how the Wildwood Tarot predicted a tree branch that would that blocked my way to work 3 years ago. It was the most literal message I've ever received. The blasted oak.
Brilliant.
Yes. And Beth said, true confession time. I rehomed my Wildwood, but the friend I gave her to really, really loves her and uses her a lot.
That's really good.
I think that's.
I get that as well, because the first time I got this quite early on in my collecting days, the artwork is stunning, absolutely stunning on there. But there's many times I picked it up and put it back in its box and thought, no, doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And Jackie said, I had this deck for years and could not work with it.
Mhm.
I just could not figure out the system.
Yeah.
And that's, I agree with you. And Richie and I are going to talk about that
Yeah.
a little bit, because that's where you need the book.
You do.
The book is
And
really
it is a complex book as well. You have to devote the time for it. I, as you know, I'm not a great book reader when it comes with decks. I'm not. But this one, yeah, you have to. You have to do it. And make lots of notes as well in it, I would suggest.
Yes. Yes. And I would say in 2020, I spent, I read this entire book over a course of time. I promised myself that every day I would read a little bit of this deck or of this book. So, and Pamela said, I started using this deck in order to walk the wheel of the year for the first time 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that is like a beautiful, beautiful reason to use the deck. It really is. And that also goes to, this is not by the Mark or John. It's called A Year in the Wildwood, where Alison Cross, do we see Alison Cross, actually sets some stuff up to help you think about how to go through the wheel of the year using this deck. So she splits it up into different things. So
yes, I'll be interested to know if anyone else has done the year study.
Has anybody done this?
Yeah, I'd like to say Year in the Wildwood. I speeded things up because I'm a Taurian and I'm very impatient. So I probably did 10.5 months in the Wildwood.
I think I saw Dawn, and then that was about it.
You went into the Wildwood and then you came back out.
I peeked in, I poked a stick at the bear and all that stuff. Sylvia's never used this. But okay, so I do want to, it does not come edged. It just comes with blank, but I edged mine.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So, and I trimmed mine.
Yes, they do. They do have these rather bright white borders. Yes.
And so when I trimmed it, it took it down to being borderless with the title at the bottom. And that being said, the cards have keywords on them at the bottom.
Yep.
And my trimmed size, because I trimmed it right down to the image, is 2.5 by 4.5 inches. Untrimmed, Richie's copy is 7.5 centimeters by 12 centimeters.
Yeah.
So
it's quite a thick white border that goes around it.
Yes. And I have to say, if okay, so I do this thing where I do a comparison of this, and when you see it, it's actually a much smaller, and it's easier to shuffle. It's quite good.
It looks so much better trimmed. I'm not brilliant at trimming decks, really.
Well, you just need a really good guillotine.
Yeah, and time.
And Divine Timing is here and said, I own this deck. It was my first deck given to me, and I lived on Wildwood at the time. Lived on Wildwood at the time, in the time. I love that. I love that sort of connection is perfect.
Yeah.
So
that's gorgeous.
Okay, so the naming of the majors is very different. And we'll just say that the naming of the majors is very different.
Yeah, we're going to probably end up talking a bit about that, I'd imagine, today.
Yes.
And of course, the minor has, the suits have been changed as well. So we have vessels, bows, stones, and arrows.
Yeah. Yes. So bows are fire or wands, stones are earth or pentacles, arrows, air, swords, and vessels is water and cups.
Yeah.
So, and and the court cards, King, Queen, Knight, Page, and in the book, it starts each of the minor suits with the king, and then Queen, Knight, Page, and then do they go backwards from there?
I think so. Yeah.
So they do.
They collectively have a theme, so it might be.
Yes. Then they go ace, ace up, and So talk about that theme.
So, with, for example, the vessels, and of course, I haven't set my deck up to actually.
I have them. I have it set up.
So I think with the vessels, they're all water-based creatures, aren't they? So you've got a salmon. Have you got an ear? I can't remember them now.
Well, okay. So you want the quartz?
Just the quartz for the vessel. For
Yes,
the vessels, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Page is the otter.
Yeah. The water otter. Eel. That's it. Salmon, and I can't remember what the other one is.
The heron.
The heron. Yeah. And then you've got birds, and then you've got like carnivores for another suit, haven't you? So they all interconnect with the element that they represent.
Yes. Yeah. So there's the stones. Yeah. One thing I will say about this is this deck tells an amazing story. In the suits. It's really, really, truly incredible. The authors, Mark Ryan and John Matthews, they really know how to build.
Yes.
So we have a question from Beth. I wonder how this would pair with which sisters or sisters.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In fact, it works nicely with any tree oracle, and actually we'll talk about that a bit in a moment, but other decks that you could use with anything that is Will Worthington based, so Druidcraft, that's all the plant and tree oracles that you get. But there is also, I think it was last year, it came out, the Sherwood Oracle, which is
that's
oracle version. I personally don't think this sits very well with it compared to others. It's not Will Worthington's art. It's based around the Robin Hood stories. It's a beautiful oracle deck, but I was a bit disappointed. It doesn't, for me, join up as nicely as it should do.
Well, and is there a Wildwood Oracle too? Okay. I don't think so. And
no.
By the way, the amazing Nancy, A Crone's Intuition, has arrived. Hello. And Divine Timing loves the Celtic stories they give on each card before describing the card. And that is exactly how it is set up. Because so, you have a card, you have in this case, a green and white version of it. And then you have the position on the wheel, which is extremely important. And then the description, the meaning, and the reading points. But then also you have here, where you have at the bottom, you have more information of things to consider.
Oh dear. Have a drink.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And that being said, also before we start getting into showing and talking about the process, this Justice is 8, or the Stag, and Strength is 11, or the Woodward.
Yes.
Because that's something that people are curious about.
Yes.
So
I'm going to pitch in at this point and say something that this is my personal reflection, having spent a year on it. And like I said earlier, I picked the deck up, put it down for many years. I jumped in and thought, yes, I'm going to do the year in the Wildwood. I did it. And from what I can see, I'm going to say this. if you are new to this deck, I would be very cautious of trying to go, oh, that is the same in an RWS deck, because although there are similarities, that is a difficult place to go. Don't try and go, okay, so that's the strength card and that means that, and that the two are similar. They really, really aren't. And I think you get yourself in a bit of a mess trying to almost picking a card and then translating it into RWS style.
It doesn't work.
Particularly with the court cards, it doesn't work, I found. And it kind of makes it, waters down the whole energy of the deck as well. So
yeah,
that's my good piece of advice for people.
Yeah. And yes, Wildwood is a different world than RWS. That's well said, Beth.
Yes.
And
however, there are there's a lot of similarities between them, and people can fall into that trap, as indeed I think I did the first time of going.
Yes.
For example, the Three of Swords is a wonderful card to work with. And I learned actually a lot more about the RWS by working with this deck, particularly on the cards that I would normally have a bit of issue with in RWS. Spend some time studying, which is what the Year in the Wildwood does. I got so much more that I can now actually use with the RWS rather than the other way around.
I love that. I love that. Tortoiseshell Moon Kathy is here. And I really love the art in this deck. So do I. So do I. I just never used it, as I feel I need to study it first and do a Year in the Wildwood, which of course I don't. I think you need to study it. Do you need to do a whole year? No. But you do need to have the ability to go, okay, I'm going to reference this. I need to see how this relates to things.
It's the only deck that I've ever journaled about.
Ooh, okay.
And that's part of a Year in the Wildwood that it's part of it. And it's very interesting going back and reading it, a year later, which is what I've done. Some lovely points as well. So that was
Jackie made that mistake of comparing it to the RWS, Ritchie.
Yeah.
And Beth says, sometimes as a reader, you need to just step into a different world. I feel that way about Witch Sister. If I keep translating, it blocks the intuition and study.
Yeah.
And Pamela said, I study decks by reading the guidebook and just using them. And Kristen Louise is here. Hello, Kristen Louise. Or excuse me, 9 Worlds Intuitive Tarot. So haven't read with because my cats ate my ancestor.
Whoa.
Oh. So, and the Wildwood blends well with the year-long Hollow Quest with the Arthurian Tarot.
Nancy, I was going to do the Hollow Quest after that, and I thought, having done the Wildwood, no, I'm going to give a break, give myself some time off before I throw myself into Hollow. I think the Hollow Quest is even more, not difficult, but a lot more development to do in it than just the year.
Sure.
So yeah, I really want to do Hollow Quest at some point.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and we're going to start talking about the cards. And along that, you were going to share some things. And so, let's here. Maybe you'll understand why I've chosen this word. This section of the video is brought to you by the word amble. Everyone say it with me. Amble. Amble. To go at, or as if at an easy gait. Saunter. Amble on over and like, share, and subscribe to our channels. Amble. So as we start our amble into the Wildwood, Nancy has said, Ritchie, it does request commitment.
Yes.
So, and, Yeah, just amble along, just ambling along. So, um, do you want to show cards? Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'm just going to go in for those people that haven't read the book, the guidebook, and there's quite a lot at the front of it that suggests it's linked to the Wheel of the Year, and that there's certain cards that are at certain nodes and certain times of the year and certain seasons attached to certain suits.
Yeah.
There it is. That diagram, it's quite difficult to get your head around to start off with. So again, it's one of those things, write on it and take what you need from it, and don't beat yourself up if you can't follow it exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody said that they just pick it to do the Wheel of the Year with, which is just such a lovely way of doing this one and taking it that way rather than being completely obsessed with the regiment of it all and doing things at certain times.
I know Integrative Healing with Sadhana has done a lot of work with Wildwood, and she is extremely articulate. So you might want to give her a try to look for a playlist for that.
Yeah.
So it's quite helpful.
Can I jump in with my most favorite card?
Yes, you can.
Because after this card, everything else is wonderful, but I'm just going to go, this is for me is my happy place. And it is number 9, The Hooded Man. Which, if we're talking RWS, we're talking the Hermit. Yeah, your cards don't seem to have quite a gloss as mine do on there, and my light's reflecting on there. So your colour's picking it up beautifully. This card, oh my goodness, when I saw it, this is how I fell in love with this deck.
Yes.
Because it's got everything to me, and it's the card around the winter solstice. So I love all the snow and the darkness and the pink sky. The looks like a holly wreath or something just on that tiny door. And with most of these images in this deck, you spend a bit of time going, oh, that's interesting, and then the image draws you in, and there's so many tiny details that are just wonderful. It is probably one of the most beautiful decks that I own, I have to be honest with, regarding artwork.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the fact we don't see his face, the hooded man.
Yes.
And there is that distinct kind of turning of the year, Yule Father, but there's also a slight darkness. And this is what I was saying about this whole deck. There's a slight darkness to it all. You always feel that you're not 100% safe. And this card, because you can't see his face, almost like a death-like character, I just find it so appealing, and I love it. And I just want to go and sit through that door, sit in that tree stump, and just talk to the hooded man, or perhaps not, just be in his presence and just spend time doing what we would do as a hermit card and just focusing and surviving that cold part of the winter.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. And by the way, we have Kat Evans is here. I keep looking at this deck, but haven't yet convinced myself to buy. Purchase responsibly, know your limits. There is a bit of study with it, and Pamela said, plus it's not just once around the wheel. We gather as we go year by year. So, and it's not an easy deck. It's not a deck that I would say is a beginner deck.
No, absolutely not.
So, and Beth said, would you call this a study deck, or how do you feel this deck works for intuitives who don't have the time to deep dive?
Ooh.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
On this. If somebody is an intuitive reader and doesn't want to deep dive into the deck, there is definitely stories and connections that you can make between the cards. That's very, very apparent. I would say it's probably for someone who really might have a Celtic affinity.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much with the imagery and the feeling that, yes, I think you could do it, because to be honest with you, that's how I've done parts of it. So,
Yes. And as we said, a lot of the cards have got keywords on them, or just one word on there. And you can choose whether you're going to use that as part of the reading or not, because some people may find that actually puts a break on the intuitive feelings that are going on with this deck. So you could use either if you wanted to. It's a storytelling deck. I think some of the characters in it could blur. So, for example, someone like the ancestor and the shaman, if you're not quite sure about what those archetypes are, and again, like I said, don't go back and start RWSing it up, but, think about what those images mean. And it's a wonderful depth for path working and shadow work. Stepping into those images is just truly wonderful, and actually quite easy. I found it quite easy to do that as well. So using it as a different way of doing the tarot, perfect, absolutely.
Yeah. Pamela was saying the hooded man interacting with the wren. I love that. And Sylvia said that really shows how just being in the moment is a very powerful force in that card. You're right. You're right. So, yes, there is a slight ominous feeling, Beth says. A bit unpredictable, like nature herself.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's that whole thing about the wood and the way the trees are painted in there, or even the open spaces. It's not like the Forest of Enchantment or the Enchanted Forest Tarot. It's not a cutesy deck. It's certainly ominous. Yeah, that's a good word to use for the whole thing. Yeah, it's a slightly unsettling, as it is if you go into a big forest on your own, because that's the whole idea of this, the pathway through it and all these characters you meet on the way.
And Elspeth is here. Hello.
Elspeth.
I am going to show two cards together because it's my channel.
Yeah. You can.
I have the Green Woman and the Green Man. Put them this way. And what I really appreciate about these two is they're both looking into the cauldron, and they're both, they're obviously green, but they're doing their scrying or their work in a different way. And so, the Green Woman is staring out at you.
Yep.
And, has her hands around the cauldron. And the Green Man is looking mostly down, but is actually going in with that big horn. I think these are a very nice couple. Very nice. So, yeah. So I just wanted to show that. I think that they work beautifully together.
I'm going to do something. You hold this up? I'm going to read my journal with these two. I don't mind sharing this one here. So this is what I said about the Green Woman. The Green Woman is the embodiment of nature and the life giver, the birth and growth of the individual, the situation. She also has a wildness about her, and she can be calmly nurturing or drastic if change is needed. Whereas the Green Man is more masculine power, the essence of the natural world and the power that comes from it. He's always been there watching us, even before Christianity, reminding us that the natural world and our relationship to it is something ingrained in us.
And that's what you wrote about those two? Ritchie brings it.
Yeah. And that's what I wrote when I did this. I was going to say I didn't write pages, and sometimes I did, and sometimes I just wrote a couple of sentences. But I wanted to share that because when I read this last night, I thought those were two ones that really spoke to me.
Absolutely. And so to go back to the idea of, yes, an intuitive could do that, because look at the image here. Look at what is in her hand. Yeah. But also, I cannot remember what they call that.
Sheila the Gates.
Yes, thank you. So there's a story all being told, and depending upon the reading. Debbie Aquarius Owl is here. Hello. And what stunned me in this deck was 15, the Guardian. That is the pagan nature spirit who precedes the concept of death.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want me to show that?
Yes, please. I don't think I've got that one to hand.
Listen to me. Do you want me to show that?
Yeah.
There you go. There it is.
Yeah. So we've got a bear skeleton, or skeleton of a bear, I should say, but it is bear. It's got no flesh on it. And it's that point where you enter one of these tombs and are confronted by this, and you have to almost get past it to, if you're going to continue. It's that kind of what's going to happen moment. Do you put the past behind you, or do you keep going on?
Yeah. So, and even Sylvia in the chat is actually saying the impression I got from those two, just that they are in their element.
Absolutely.
I agree. Okay.
I'm going to show the Forest Lovers now. And this is a perfect card for this time of year because this is Beltane. And Beltane was a time when people could get hand fasted for a year and a day, and they could live together. And after a year and a day, if it didn't work out, they could split apart, and that's fine. There was no, that was it. And I just like the fact that these two people are in love, and you've got the lilies there to suggest love. But they've also got that kind of maypole kind of ideal that's going on there. But it's like that they're together, but there is that chance that they could part. And that's okay as well, which is a very interesting take on what we would normally think of as the Lovers card there. But again, beautiful illustration. And I get a lot more out of this than any other Lovers card that I can think of, probably apart from Morgan Greer, which is one of my favourite Lovers cards. But this, I think, is just stunning as well. The artwork and again, how it ties in nicely with the Wheel of the Year. It's just really well done.
And the Celtic traditions. That is exactly what what would happen for a year and a day. So, and Beth is overthinking it.
Well, Beth, go 9 months around the Wheel of the Year, and you're at Imbolc, and that's when the milk and the babies start coming. So, yeah.
And this is definitely Beltane. So there you go. So, but I'm going to pick the next card because I find the Archer a beautiful card.
Yeah.
There is a great deal of power and strength in this, and look at the vision. Look at the eyesight. It's like boom.
Yeah.
So, and I also like she's in my opinion she's female. Well, it looks like she's female, and I'm like going good. So,
yeah, I like the fact you got the dogs in the background waiting for the shot to happen and something to be captured, and they're going to go racing off and capture it. But the poise, the focus on this person, and again, we're not talking 7 is Chariot, isn't it? Normally, am I right in that one?
Yes.
It's not that speed. It's not that movement that we associate with Chariot. This is about poise and balance and that moment before action happens.
Yeah, and Pamela says, the Archer's dogs. It's like, yes, this is one of those things that, and whilst we're not doing a comparison to the RWS, but if you think about it, that that ability to focus is an important aspect of the Chariot or the 7. So I love that.
One of the cards that I had an issue with when I was picking up and putting down the deck quite early on, I'm not very good with, is it anthropomorphical things that are animals as humans. And so the stag, number 8, was problematic. And there's a few other cards in this where animal heads are on human bodies and things like that there. However, this is a card that I grew to love when I studied it, because I didn't realize really what was going on in that picture. We have the ancestor with a stag head and a shield. That's a shield, not a drum, and an axe. This is somebody who is protecting nature. It's that whole environmental card. And for me, as somebody who loves nature and loves the trees and this card is about environmental strength and disaster. And it's a very important card, therefore, for me. And it stands out when I know that this card is being pulled. I know that I have to look at my environment and perhaps make some changes. Or what can I do to enhance it? Or perhaps it's a wake-up call to get yourself out in nature and do some weeding or plant some seeds or something.
Yeah. And Debbie said, I think of it more of as a mask.
Yeah.
And yes, Elspeth said, I don't mind that as it's like Hermie, the hunter. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and oh, Lightfoot has said, love this deck. It was a toss-up between the Wildwood and the Druidcraft decks for this year's study.
Yeah.
They work bothly together.
They would do both together.
Jackie chose Druidcraft.
Yeah, beautiful deck.
So, yes, there are more that appear to have heads, but I so the last major arcana that I have. Oh, wait a minute, Ritchie, could you say could that stag represent the Holly King?
Possibly. For me, it wouldn't, Beth, but I could see why you could argue that we have the whole Green Man, Herne the Hunter, Robin Hood, that archetypal kind of masculine face in the forest. I get that, yeah. That's why I worked with this card. But then I saw that for me, this card has got stag's antlers rather than the ancestor, which is more of a kind of reindeer-y, kind of softer antlers. Sure. These ones are sharp because it has to have things that it can protect itself and fight for with. So the antlers for me are about fighting and dueling and those natural gifts that we have that are give us protection and give us the ability to fight our way through a situation.
Well said. Pamela also said, I was reading yesterday and read that masks can reveal the true self.
Yeah.
And this just in, Lightfoot's pendulum chose the Druidcraft.
There you go.
Okay. So wasn't that a Jungian thing, Pamela? Oh, that probably would be. And Ange is here. Hi, Ange.
Hi, Ange.
The next card that I have that I really like is I really like the World Tree. This is card 21. Will has outdone themselves on the creation of this because I love me a labyrinth. And look at that tree. We have all of the seasons on that tree and a lot of journeying. If you want to do this, you could go into a labyrinth and then go into the door of that tree and really dig in deep. So
I love it because I discovered this deck at the same time when I studied it, that I got into shamanic practices as well. And there's obviously a huge shamanic thing that runs through this whole deck. But the course that I do, your Axis Mundi into whichever world that you're journeying into, is through an oak tree. Just like that.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Pamela loves the little door into the tree too. And Beth asked, Ritchie, have you ever worked with this deck with the Tarot of the She?
I don't have the Tarot of the She. It's never called to me.
Okay. And yeah. Okay. More and more people have come in. Thank you. And there's great chat going on, so you are all being the best chatters. So
yeah.
All right, what else do you have, Ritchie?
Number 13, The Journey. There we go. Wow. Again, let's not compare it to the RWS, but we know what the number 13 card is in that one there. But this is about when things have finished, the use that other things can find from it, and that it's all part of where we are on our journey is only in proportion to how other things see us. So, for example, the skull, the stag, is dead. It's finished its journey. However, for the raven, it's a start or part of his journey that carries him forward on that one there. And I can hear the noise of the card of these crows and ravens kind of in these deadly noises. And I think it captures the essence of it really well again. And again, it's not a spooky card. That's not a spooky.
No, it's not.
Some people may assume the death card kind of to be. But the fact that it's a journey, yeah, it is a journey, and it's just a phase of a journey, and there will continue to be journeys afterwards. It's a transition, yeah.
Yeah, Indigenous transition card in the Vision Quest Tarot.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you have more major arcana that you want to share? And I want to say hello to...
I kind of got carried away with images like the moon on water. And I just, again, love the fact that there's a very full moon there with animals silhouetted out there. Again, animals that repeat during the deck as well. But I also appreciate that the moon there is almost in a crescent when it's looking in the water.
Yeah.
Whereas the phase of it feels like it's changed. And I love the idea of moon and water together rather than just being the moon card, and that how the moon impacts the tides and the water, but the reflections are different. And I just, again, love that thought, which again I would never normally think of with the moon card all that much. I like it.
Yeah. Elspeth said, death as a journey. I pulled it as a daily card this week, and I think it represents the beginning of the last term for my students before they move schools. Ooh.
Loving it.
Yes. So you had mentioned the moon. I always group 3 cards together. The pole star, which is a lovely card. I like this. Following true north, the moon, and then the sun of life. I mean, these 3 cards to me are definitely, wait a minute, please hold. These 3 cards are, I mean, you know, there's definitely part of the journey. Oh, Jesus.
If you don't realize, people, everything's backwards in YouTube world, isn't it? That's why it's so difficult.
So, you know, it's like you're going on a journey. I mean, there you go. There's the storytelling with that. So
it's gorgeous, isn't it?
I love that. Yes.
Shall we do some minor arcanas?
Let's do
some. Right, my favorite minor arcana is the 6 of Arrows. Again, an image that we are very familiar with, the boat. But perhaps it's because we've got this hooded figure again. It feels a bit like the hermit, or sorry, the hooded man, I should say that. And we have the card transition, the word transition. That's pretty straightforward. However, this is one person sailing their boat. They are in control of it, and it really feels that it's a person here who is in that transitional phase. I love the fact that the moon is still there, the sun's coming up. We've got using all those energies and elements you just talked about as well. But it isn't about rough water and smooth water. It's just somebody is really making that journey.
Well, and with the
focused on it.
Sorry. I mean, and with the title transition on it, I mean, it's really hard to get a transition as an artist. And this, I mean, and Will has done that. As you said, There's the moon, there's the sun, there's smooth water, rough water. It's like, yeah.
And
And
that
moving,
boat is gorgeous, that swan's head and everything. It's not your bog standard boat with a punt on there. We've got the full sail. This is somebody, it has a sense to me of kind of the river Styx and in Greek mythology and sort of that moving on to a new land that way.
Yeah. I mean, well, Michelle had said moving by moonlight to evade detection. And such a good connection, Ritchie. The boatmaster is the hermit. I've never connected those two hooded figures before. And the hooded figure is really powerful because it allows the reader to go, who is that? Who are they? Is it me? Is it someone else? It's really, really cool. And Ange said the Wildwood along with Druidcraft are both lovely decks. Yes, they are. And Beth said, does that hooded figure of the 6 of arrows remind you of the ferryman in the river Styx?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and Pamela says, and the swan is the queen of arrows in the Wildwood.
Yep.
See, this is one of those things that if you were to study this, lay the cards out, see the images and what connections there are with that. So I'm since we're talking about arrows, I had the 8 of arrows.
Ooh, I nearly pulled that one as well. I love this one. But
and what's so good about this is I feel as I'm looking at this, what is going on. It's like, oh my gosh. And so the key word is struggle. And it's like, okay, how do you keep that light going on when there's so much wind and it's cold and you're trying to hold things? It's really, really powerful. Really powerful. So it's like boom.
I love it. I love the characters. Well, again, the wind, the elements are so wrapped up in that. In
yes.
The
other thing that I have to say is for goodness sakes, wear some mittens. I mean, come on. But,
well, I have to say, I think it is the arrow suit that is my favorite in this deck. Because when I pulled out the ones that the cards that I picked, the most amount from the arrows. And it's not often I would say that I'm going to pull the swords as being my favorite. So again, it's huge plus on what this deck has managed to achieve.
Yes, I agree.
Can I go for the card that I got the most out of when I was studying it?
Yes, please.
It's quite a dull one, but it's the 3 of arrows, so the 3 of swords. And it wasn't so much the image, because it's very similar to the RWS. Let's not keep mentioning it, but it's there. We have a heart that's bleeding. And when it was the RWS, I was like 3 of swords, sorrow, loss, lost love, and like that. But this one has the keyword jealousy. And I literally wrote 2 pages in my journal about this book. In my book about this card. And it has taught me so much more about the 3 of swords than I could ever do. Can I share some with you? Some of the reading?
If you would like, yes.
So I spent about 2 days working on jealousy because I'm a Taurian. One of my bad traits is jealousy. I'm a terribly jealous person, so I know I have to work on it. So I spent 2 days thinking about jealousy and why we have jealousy. Jealousy is a natural human emotion. Having or showing jealousy shows that you yearn for something better. That being something that we may feel may make us happy or complete, although we know that it won't possibly happen when we get it. So why is jealousy seen as a negative emotion? One that we fight against, or we get told that jealousy makes us ugly or it's a sin. But actually, it's a really important emotion. It's an emotion that keeps us fighting for what we want. It's an emotion that keeps us keeping on the path that we're going. We might be pulling tricks left, right, and centre for it to be happening, but there are many outcomes that may quench the jealous thirst. Some are more dangerous than others. But any action will only satiate the feeling for a short while until something else comes along to cause a jealous feeling again. This card is telling me that jealousy exists. Get over it. But don't let the emotion lead you to somewhere you really shouldn't go to stop it. Harm no one. Envy is an emotion that cannot be controlled until we kill it with humility, acceptance, and forgiveness. We are only entitled to the happiness that we can create. Boom.
That's really beautiful, Ritchie. Thank you.
It was such a revelation for me.
Mm-hmm. That is so powerful. And that's the benefit of spending time with a deck and studying it, especially one that is set up so nicely like the Wildwood. It's going to, and there's enough, the writers, Mark and John, have given us enough information to go, woo, and then we have to take the time to fill in the blank. So
you've got to give this deck time. Well, that's the latest. You can go in, as we said earlier, you can take the keywords, you can work with it, you can pathwork with it, but you can get some really good stuff out of it if you give it the time.
Yes. Yeah. There's beautiful appreciation for you sharing that.
I just wanted to share that one with you because I thought that was the one that I had most success with when I was spending a year in the Wildwood.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to mention the 10 of arrows, because when I've mentioned this card before, this is the 10 of arrows. And this is I'm getting emotional. This is a very powerful image for me. And because it is so different than what we see in the traditional RWS. But what it is it's an elder who's helping a young one learn. And it's very much a bridge to, okay, maybe this elder is going, I'm not going to be here very long. I need someone who is a very good archer. And this child is that good archer. And I mean, it's just so powerful for me. When I see that, I'm like going, okay, kids, we are, I mean, and the title is instruction. And I mean, and that's, we have, just move your elbow up a little bit and suddenly it's a good shot. So I love this image. This is one of those cards.
So different from what we're used to with the tennis.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And that being said, it's different, yet, okay, the 10 of swords in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith is the worst of it is over. Okay, things are coming. And this one is, we're instructing so that those who are left behind, or people can do things with what we have. It's taking my knowledge and then sharing it. So, and every card has its own depth of learning and concept. Nothing as it may seem. The wisdom is within. So, the beginning of a new cycle. The elderly instructs the next generation. Not sure why I got emotional about that one, but I did. So there we go.
Sometimes it can do that to you, though.
Oh yeah.
And again, that's the joy of this deck, is that it can suddenly tap into areas that you may not have been aware of straight away.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
A card that brings me emotion, but joyous emotion, is the Eight of Vessels, which is entitled Rebirth. Curse you, glossy cardstock. Thank you. I love the fact that we have, firstly, so much water going on here. You can hear this card. You've got the running water. You've got the dripping of the little cups at the top, into the bigger cauldron, which in itself is fit. It's this whole cycle of water, but it's calming. It's relaxing. And the idea of rebirth is that cleansing, but also the water doesn't ever disappear. It will end up back at that mountain, coming down that waterfall to be used again and again. It's a cycle. It's coming round. It's cleansing. It's just a beautiful card. And I like the fact as well that the trees are pretty bare on here, or look like they're about to be going into either a new season, whether that's new growth or going into winter. But there's a freshness about this, and for me it's about cleansing and cleaning, almost like an emulk kind of thing, and the water's there to give you that cleansing so that you can be rebirthed and move on.
I really like that. This is a card that I have as well, and part of what so this, and what happens is this is what's down there at the bottom.
Yeah,
it's the 10 of vessels. So we have to go through this refresh or the rebirth, and then we have the happiness. And notice how the happiness is not still waters. The happiness is the water washing over everything. So I like these two together. It tells, for me, it's a great little story.
But then also to tie everything in, the Ace of Vessels, which is called the Waters of Life, has got the waters in there. The vessel, it's a stone vessel. There's that swan that we talked about, and there's even that little boat. So it's making reference to the 6 of arrows again in there as well. And you have the waters of life. So we have the moose or the reindeer drinking from it. You've got this almost symbolic chalice, let's say womb-like structure that's going on. You've got the swan, and you've got this kind of, as I said, boat. It looks like a child's boat or something to me. Everything's happening with this water. Animals are refreshing themselves. It's ancestry. It's beauty. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And emotional cleansing. Love your description, Ritchie. And this is the best example of why I love a great guidebook for tarot rather than keywords. Well, and there's that, again, this is that opportunity of, it's like when you have the repeat, pay attention to the repeat images and the connections. So that's cool. Okay. I'm just making sure that
time.
We're just at 1 hour and 5. So
I've got one that's kind of illustrates an issue that I have, though. I don't want to do that now if you want other cards to go to do, but
let me take a quick look. Thank you, everybody. This is a good opportunity for you to verify that you are subscribed to both of our channels. Here, I really appreciate this Ace of Bows, the Spark of Life. What a powerful image. It's quite beautiful.
All the aces are wonderful. I've pulled out the Ace of Stones, the foundation of life.
Yes. I mean, and it's like, wow. So the other one that I appreciated was the 9 of Bows.
Yeah.
Because this is creepy. I mean, if I saw that coming toward me, I would be backing away very, very quickly, or I would be frozen to the spot. And it's respect. It's like, oh wow, it gave me pause.
It gives me that idea that you have in this wood, you have things that you haven't even got an inkling about, you don't know about. And you might stumble across something in life that might surprise you, shock you, intrigue you. But you still have to be careful with that. You don't go poking the bear on that one there. You are going to be respectful for things that you may not be familiar with first time round.
And I would actually think, and in my mind, if I show this thing respect, I could get a lot of wisdom from this being. And it
does
back,
remind me of the number one, the magician, the shaman.
Yes, yes. It's a younger version of the shaman.
Yeah.
Okay, Kat Evans said, I'm sorry, I wandered off to take care of something. What is the second deck? These are both copies of the Wildwood. Kat, I've just trimmed mine. I've trimmed mine. Yeah, it looks like somebody tumbled into a homeless person's camp. Well, I'm not going to want to do that either. So, but okay. So what?
So I'm just going to point this one out. So this was, we talked earlier about how we need to be careful not to go RWS is this, because if I'm honest, the bit about this deck that I had a huge issue with until I pulled myself well away from all previous knowledge was the court cards.
Okay.
Because they are animals, and I, as an English person, do appreciate that these are all UK-based animals. So I do appreciate that, and I know that they might not translate across the world. But I'm going to give you an example of where you might need to be a little bit careful with trying to partner up this. If I said the Queen of Cups to people, you have your own interpretation of what the Queen of Cups is. So for me, somebody who's artistic, in control of that, they're supportive, they're artistic, they're poetic, they're caring, they're intuitive, they are loving, they're fun-loving, perhaps a bit too over-loving, but a really lovely kind of, that's my vibe that I get from the Queen of Cups. The card we have here is the salmon. Now, this is the salmon of wisdom. And this roots itself right back in Druid mythology. And the salmon of wisdom is shown even with the hazelnuts there that give the wisdom there. And the problem I have is that the salmon of wisdom for me is not the character of the Queen of Cups that I've just described. So that's why I would say be really careful of trying to get your court cards from the RWS.
Yeah, don't.
Into it. You're just going to have to work with these ones and go, right, what does a salmon mean to me? You know, it's hardworking. It's trying to get back to where it wants to, where it originally spawned. It's drawn in by its history. Don't try and do those meet up there between the RWS, because it's really not going to work for you.
Not at all. You're right. That's a very insightful thing about the court cards.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten that all of the animals were UK based. You're right. You're right. So
there's not a cardinal in this one.
Which is a shame. Which is a shame.
I've never seen a cardinal, but I've got lots of decks with them here.
Okay. I need to be sending you some pictures.
Yeah.
I did find another card that I appreciated, and then I have a card that I need some help with.
Okay. Yeah.
And I really like the 8 of Stones.
Yeah.
That is a nice image. I think it may be it's an artistic thing that I really appreciate. It is skill. And this person is, I love the image of the hand on the wall. This is a reminder of, gee, we had to do a lot of things by hand back in the day. So I think that's I like that card.
There's about that though. It's about not rushing.
Yes.
It's about this person has a lot of time to perfect these and has done a wonderful job of creating all sorts of wonderful things that he might not have actually been intending to make, but it came out the process. But that
Yes.
handprint as well shows that perhaps somebody previous, an ancestor, has been doing exactly the same thing.
Yes.
And it's a skill that has, again, transcends, a bit like your other card, the Ten of Arrows.
Yes. So here's a card I have an issue with. It's the Two of Stones, and it's called Challenge. And this may be, Ritchie, because the Two of Pentacles, Two of Coins,
favorite card, isn't it?
Is my favorite card. I'm just like going, okay. And I get it. I mean, I understand the challenge of it. And the two is about challenge. It's about balance. It's yin and yang. So when we're thinking about the numerology of it, it's like, okay. But I don't know. It's just sort of like, I don't necessarily see a battle of two. Most of the time, for me, the Two of Pentacles is I don't want to use the word battle between myself. It's something going on for me. This has brought another party into the mix. So
what I'm going to do, I'm going to read you the wisdom of Ritchie from the book.
Ooh, okay.
I actually wrote quite a lot about this. I've completely forgotten about this one now. So it's two female hares that are boxing. And they're boxing for domination and territorial rights. A time of struggle suggested here of something really that needs addressing. Learning the ways of how to box and beat the system is part of growing and adulting. What skills can we use to our advantage? In human reality, prestige of money and status is the norm. The Wildwood teaches us to go deeper and summon the energies of the elements to help you through the situation. Pure and positive motives keep you in the right place. Integrity will win through. Differences of opinion can lead to greater things, as long as both sides see the positive importance of the other person's stance. Focus and stay true. Does that help?
It really does. Thank you. Thank you. And Sylvia has said that card reminds me of mirroring, yet the coins are not about that. But if it reminds you about that, definitely it could be there. And perhaps Gerald must observe his resistance to that Two of Stones, accept it and let it go, just saying.
Yeah.
So, and then Debbie said, but they are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Ritchie, what else would you like to share about the Wildwood Tarot?
I think I've said it enough. I mean, every card in this one is, I would recommend, if you haven't got this deck, get the book. Just to sit there, pull a card, just look at it. Just give yourself 5 minutes, peace and quiet. It is like walking into nature, walking into a different time, walking into a liminal space. Just that is healing. I mean, we talked about how those cards are vessels and water. It's about cleansing. And I think this whole deck is about this. There's an aggression. There's a darkness to them all. But no more than you find in everyday life, I don't think. So I would just recommend, even if you never read with it, just have a card, perhaps pull a card for a week. Pull a card on a Friday, take you into the weekend, and just see how that card may appear during your week. Or then reflect back on it, on how was your week and how does it tie in. I think that would be really useful to do. It's something that I do. I don't do this deck quite so much, but I have the Druid Animal Oracle deck, which is Will Worthington. Again, it's all the Druid animals. And I do that. I pull a card for the energies of the week, and then I work with it. And I think you could probably do the same with this deck, but just having it out to look at the card or carrying it around with you is beautiful. And I personally as well think, because of the keywords on here or the phrases, it's quite a nice deck to have for a yes or no question to have a go at, because you instantly get the vibe of the card of whether it's a positive or a negative. And so that's quite useful if you don't have a deck where you can have straight yes or no answers. This one works really well as well. So
that's a good point.
So kind of forget the RWS and just make it your own.
Yeah. Pamela says, start to walk the wheel of the year. It is life-changing, probably on in multiple ways. And in this starts with Imbolc, if I remember correctly.
It does.
Do
but
you
don't
need
wait.
Don't wait. Don't wait. Start on May 1st.
Start perfect time, because perfect time. And don't get bogged down with a lot of it. If it doesn't make sense to you, just do you.
Do a little bit, yes. Hi, Ren. Good to see you. And and Beth is so wait, would you say the Two of Stones is about balancing your own ego to see what choice you should make, taking the ego out? Yeah. Garnet is here, so but this is go ahead.
I was going to say, we're doing our long stash Beltane, aren't we, coming up next week?
Next week, yes.
Yeah. Shall we use this deck to try and do some readings with it?
I'm so glad you suggested that, Richie. I think that's a brilliant idea. And I'm going to, I say yes, we're going to use the Wildwood for these readings. And I am going to chuck my understanding of the RWS out. And I'm actually going to go image-wise.
Yes.
What is this telling me?
Absolutely. And it might be difficult with some of those birds and animals if they crop up, but we're gonna do it because we're long stash.
We are long stash. Pamela has said, I met my first guide in the Wildwood, the great Heron, who is the king of vessels. There you go. Brilliant idea.
One thing that surprised me about this deck, though, I realised this about half an hour before we went live to. Of all the animals, of all the things in this deck, there is not an owl. I'm really surprised that an owl isn't in this deck.
Really?
Just find it quite unusual. I quite like an owl. I'd like a nice owl in the Wildwood.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
That'd be my additional card. I'll just stick another card in. Like sometimes I might phone Will Worthington and ask him to do it.
Well, somebody was talking in the chat that I think it was Mark Ryan has signed their book. And so that's great. And Pamela's like going, it's like, that's very interesting. And what? No owl, interesting and surprising. And what's up with that? Debbie Aquarius Owl says.
Exactly.
So, well, and Garnet says, him long gone, fellow. So there you go. There's our owl. One thing that I will say, I was looking at my notes. One thing that is took me a moment. The major arcana has the what do you call those numbers like that? Do you know numbers, Richie?
I do know numbers. I work with them quite a lot.
Yes, but so we have these are it's a what do they call that? It's not.
Oh, I see. The font wise.
No, yeah, well, it's number 13. It's a 1 and a 3.
Oh, I see. Numerology.
The minors, they are spelled out.
I never noticed that.
It was something that I discovered as I was studying for this, and I'm like, well, that's what oftentimes it would be the other way around, but I was like, well, okay. I mean, it was just a little. It's like, wait a minute. So
Yeah, that's unusual, isn't it?
yeah. So
I suppose it does make you realise it's a major or a minor.
it could. Hi B, good to see
Hi,
you.
Benny. Good to see you, my lovely.
So
So by having a number, it's a major, and with a word, you know it's part of the. I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
we
It
need,
was
do need
yeah.
to phone them and ask, don't we, about that one too? 'Cause we
Well,
need.
they're not returning my calls anymore. So, but yeah. So what everybody needs to do is you need to like and subscribe to both of our channels, because in a week at this same time we are going to be doing Beltane readings using the Wildwood Tarot. And I think it's a, and by the way, there is an extra book. It's called A Year in the Wildwood, and this is the one by Alison Cross. If you needed a support, here's one for it. And what do you have, Richie?
This is another one. This is Wild Magic. It's an additional. It's called a workbook. I would read the guidebook, to be honest with you.
And if you wanted to support as you were going along the year in the Wildwood and needed some structure, I would do this. And thank you.
Yeah, Arabic. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember the word. The word was
It's Friday afternoon here in the UK.
Yes.
I'm in holiday weekend mode.
There you go. So what do you have any last minute thoughts for people, Richie?
Regarding the Wildwood,
or you?
Don't beat yourself up about it. Just go with it and keep trying, because it will start speaking to you, and be prepared for what it might say sometimes, because it doesn't hold back sometimes, this deck.
Mm-hmm. I consider this high praise. Jules, learning to listen, said, I haven't seen any other people quite so geeky about this deck before. This is awesome. And thank you.
That's a compliment. I love it.
I absolutely take that as a compliment. That is that's brilliant.
Thank you.
Yes, we do our best.
I'll tell you what's nice, Gerald, is actually to talk about a deck, doing a casual. We haven't done a casual for a long time, so it's nice to do that one. But to have so many cards that I just love and find it, and be able to gush about. This could be 5 episodes, because there's so many beautiful images in here. But being geeky about it is really nice for a change, and not being on, ooh, not too sure about this card. There's got all of these cards.
And Tortoiseshell Moon Kathy said, I got the Year in the Wildwood book via Kindle Unlimited for free, which is useful.
Yeah. Oh, the app is very good. So if you can get the Fool's...
Oh, Fool's Dog. Is it a Fool's Dog? Okay.
There's an app for... This is on there, and it's really good as well, because the images are really crystal clear. So I would recommend that as well.
And always, if you are purchasing responsibly and you know your limits, please make sure that you get the deck that is in a box with a guidebook, because as Richie had mentioned, this deck has been
knocked off, ripped off, left, right.
Yes. Kiba is here, and Beth asked, Richie, do you have the Llewellyn Tarot deck? The Celtic deck?
No, I've got the Celtic Tarot. I've got lots of Celtic different tarots, but I don't have the Llewellyn one.
All right. Well, everyone have an on a reading app too. Okay. Yeah. I actually like Fool's Dog stuff when you can get the full copy of the guidebook, on the app too.
Yeah.
It's quite helpful.
Yeah.
It's quite helpful. So you would love the moon.
It's been lovely. Thank you.
This has been great. And I want to say thank you to everyone who is watching. please do us the favor. If you're watching this in playback, please give this a thumbs up. Follow the links below to show your support. And in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Bye.